Fabio Quartararo has once again fired a serious warning at Monster Energy Yamaha amid mounting pressure on the Japanese manufacturer to convince him to stay beyond 2026. The Frenchman, who captured the MotoGP World Championship title in 2021, made it crystal clear he will only remain with Yamaha if the new M1 V4 machine allows him to fight at the front again. Since his crowning moment 4 years ago, Quartararo's fortunes have steadily declined, largely due to Yamaha's inability to keep up with the rapid evolution of rival manufacturers like Ducati, KTM and Aprilia. The YZR M1 has consistently lagged in straight-line speed and rear grip weaknesses that have left El Diablo without a victory since the 2022 German Grand Prix. In a bid to rekindle his trust and restore competitiveness, Yamaha has taken a bold step by developing an all-new V4 engine, marking a historic shift from their traditional inline-4 philosophy. However, despite early excitement, Quartararo remains unconvinced after his initial test at Misano last month. To be honest, the first feelings weren't what I expected, Quartararo admitted. The V4 engine still has some of the same limitations as the current inline-4. We need a big step forward, not just a small improvement. Time is ticking for Yamaha. The Frenchman has made it clear that the upcoming post-season Valencia test on the 18th of November 2025 will be crucial. If the factory fails to show genuine progress, Quartararo could start exploring alternative options for 2027. They need to move fast, he stressed. For a rider, it's good to know early what direction to take. I'm not saying I need to decide immediately, but I don't want to wait too long to understand my future. Yamaha is working hard with the V4, but my main goal is to win races, podiums, and titles. If I can't do that with Yamaha, I'll have to move on. Behind the scenes, Yamaha's engineers are racing against time, collaborating closely with engineers from Formula One and exploring radical aerodynamic and electronic updates. But for Quartararo, promises and prototypes are no longer enough. He wants results on track. The 2027 MotoGP silly season is shaping up to be one of the most dramatic in years. Almost every top rider's contract, including Quartararo's, will expire at the end of 2026. The timing couldn't be more critical as MotoGP prepares for sweeping regulation changes. The shift from 1000cc to 850cc engines and a switch from Michelin to Pirelli tyres. Quartararo believes this could completely reset the competitive order. It's a gamble, but I like that, he smiled. Whether you make your choice in January or July, it won't change much. Everyone will be surprised by how different things are with 850cc bikes and new tyres. What really matters is which manufacturer is serious about winning and who truly wants you in their project. Yamaha now faces a defining crossroads. After years of stagnation, the transition to a V4 engine represents both a technical and philosophical revolution, but also a massive risk. The brand's conservative development pace and resistance to outside collaboration have been its downfall in the modern MotoGP era. Quartararo's public ultimatum adds yet more pressure on Yamaha's management. It's not just about keeping their star rider, it's about saving their identity in MotoGP. If the M1 V4 fails to deliver, Yamaha could face the unthinkable, losing a world champion who once carried their hopes almost single-handedly. For now, all eyes turn to Valencia. That test will not just shape the 2026 season, it could decide the future of Yamaha's entire MotoGP program. One thing is certain, Fabio Quartararo has run out of patience. And unless the M1 V4 becomes a genuine race winner, the next time he lines up on the grid in 2027, it may not be in Yamaha blue. Those close to Quartararo say his frustration has reached its highest point since joining Yamaha in 2019. Once known for his calm, analytical approach, the 26-year-old has become noticeably more vocal in recent months. Team insiders reveal that Fabio has been pushing relentlessly for answers from both the Japanese engineers and the European-based technical staff. The problem, he believes, lies not in the lack of effort, but in the lack of direction. Yamaha's traditional engineering structure, still heavily centralized in Japan, has struggled to match the agility of its European rivals. Ducati, KTM and Aprilia have embraced continuous on-track testing, data-driven simulation and aerodynamics adapted from Formula One. In contrast, Yamaha's slower approval process often delays upgrades by several races, a difference Quartararo has described as a handicap in a sport that evolves every weekend. Quartararo knows that MotoGP careers can be brutally short at the top level. After seeing fellow champions like Joan Mir and Marquez endure difficult transitions, he understands how critical timing can be. If Yamaha cannot give me a winning project by next season, I'll need to find one that can, he told reporters in Japan earlier this month. Such statements would have been unthinkable from him 2 years ago now. They sound almost inevitable. The rider market of 2027 will be wide open, and several factories, notably Ducati, Aprilia and even BMW, should they commit to MotoGP's new era, could view Quartararo as a cornerstone signing. His youth, marketing appeal and proven speed make him one of the most valuable free agents in the paddock. Behind closed doors, Yamaha has already begun a quiet restructuring of its MotoGP department. Former F1 engineers have been recruited to modernize engine mapping, electronics and aerodynamics. There's also a growing collaboration with European testing teams to speed up feedback loops. Insiders suggest that Yamaha's 2026 prototype, the V4R project, will feature a more compact chassis, a higher rev ceiling and significantly improved torque delivery. Still, translating theory into performance remains Yamaha's biggest challenge. As one senior engineer admitted anonymously, "We are no longer competing just with other motorcycles, we are competing with engineering cultures." For Yamaha, this is about more than retaining Quartararo. It's about preserving its MotoGP legacy, one built by legends like Rossi, Lorenzo and Rainey. Losing their only world champion of the modern era would send shockwaves far beyond the paddock. It would symbolize not just a failed project, but a fading identity in the world's premier motorcycle racing series. The question haunting the paddock now is whether Yamaha can reinvent itself quickly enough to survive in a sport dominated by European innovation. The next 12 months could define the brand's next decade. Meanwhile, rival teams are quietly observing Yamaha's struggle. Ducati continues to perfect its aerodynamics and whole-shot systems. KTM has built a strong alliance with Red Bull Advanced Technologies, and Aprilia has become the dark horse of the championship. Every one of these manufacturers knows that if Yamaha falters and Quartararo becomes available, they'll have a golden opportunity to strengthen their lineup.